This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The biggest icon in podcasting.
Welcome in, everybody, to this week's edition of Doc and Jock. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Joining me, as always, my cousin Adam, the Jock Strozinski. Cuz here today, I don't know how far into this podcast we're going to get without us laughing hysterically. The Lions. I mean, I was so excited to do this broadcast. I've been waiting now 5 days since this, 4 days since the end of the game. And it's just, when I was talking with people, rehashing everything that happened, literally Sunday, the best way to describe it was a cavalcade of Lions misery, all into one, heightened into a 4-hour window that was so inexplicable on every level, on brand with the Lions. I was there. I felt the gut punch, but bottom line, when your team has lost in epic ways, this was just the 2021 way of losing. But boy, if you're going to go out there and lose in historic fashion, what better way than to have a kicker just kick it 66 yards, standing at his own 40? Justin Tucker, my God, I'm just so fascinated to hear how you took that in. Did you think it was going in? What your reaction was? Because my jaw hit the floor, pushed the publish button for a story, and then it's just, for me, it was just like, this is just another version of the shit that I've seen now for the 42 years I've been alive watching football. But it just, for me, I don't know what to make of my lack of anger, because maybe I'm covering it all the time and I've seen it. But to me, it just came off as fucking hilarious that this is how the Lions lost their third football game of the season, where everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And to top it all off, the ball hits the crossbar to give you that extra little bit of hope that it's going to go down, and then it goes right back up. It almost increased the speed of the football, and the fans of Detroit just got to eat a fat one there, a loss. I felt bad, you know, in essence, because it was a game that the Lions played decently on defense, but we're going to talk all about it and recap every mistake and every decision that was made. But my God, did the Lions ever lose in historic fashion on Sunday there in week 3 of 2021?
You couldn't help but laugh. Like, when it happened, you couldn't help but just laugh out loud and be like, yep, there's another one. Just add it to the list.
Add it to the list.
It's like the Detroit Lions have this football reel of all of the monumental ways that they've either been boned or lost a game in epic fashion. And this one just goes right at the very, very end of it all. And you just kind of let those 3 or 4 or 35, however many seconds, you just let it play out, and you just kind of let the swan song go, and that's what it is. I couldn't help but laugh after it was done. I was upset, but I couldn't help but laugh and be like, yeah, we've been here before. And I immediately tweeted you, and I was like, this falls squarely at the feet of Dan Campbell. This
Right,
team was in
yes.
such epic position to win this game. They did such a good job. Now, mind you, the Baltimore Ravens did help them out, right? I mean, you've got wide receivers who are wide open, dropping balls when they could have had 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-yard touchdowns. You had Lamar Jackson. Look, I don't even know what to make of Lamar Jackson anymore. There was a point probably 2 seasons ago where I was like, this guy's on the verge of becoming an elite quarterback. And at this point, after last year and after 3 games this season, I don't really know what the hell Lamar Jackson is. He's a guy who will throw for maybe 200 yards, might rush for 100 yards. In the end, the Lions did a great job of containing him. And in that final drive, the Lions had them at 4th and 19 after back-to-back sacks, bringing 4 guys. They only brought 4 guys, and they sacked Lamar Jackson twice and had them at 4th and 19.
This
to then
week,
have your head coach, the guy who claims that we're going to bite kneecaps off and we're going to drop elbows, The guy who says that we're going to punch you in the face. We'll get punched. We're going to punch you right back. The guy who says that we're going to play ultra aggressive. Everything about him is ultra aggressive, over the top. For him to basically take his wiener and stuff it inside himself and create a vagina and call a timeout because he wants to make sure he's got the right guys on the field. Bro, you had them reeling. If this was a heavyweight fight, this would be the 12th round. And there would legitimately be 35 seconds left. And the guy you're going against is leaning on the rope and bouncing back and forth between the rope and laying on your shoulder.
Detroit Lions.
All you've got to do is hit him with one swift uppercut. That is it. Game over. 10 count. It's done. You go on to a win. I'm looking at ESPN right now. And ESPN has this win probability thing. And there was a point where the Lions were basically like 100% winner. 97.7. They basically had this game locked up with 40 seconds left. And Dan Campbell wants to call a timeout to say, hey guys, we got to put certain people on the field. Mind you, he rushes only 3 defenders. You've been getting to the house and you've been containing Lamar Jackson with 4 guys all day. Now you're going to send 3. You drop an extra guy back. And mind you, the secondary on this team is atrocious. It is absolutely abysmal. You could take pylons and you could take road construction cones and put them out in the secondary, and they would cause more of a disruption for wide receivers and tight ends than what you're getting from the guys who are actually wearing the jerseys. It is absolutely brutal to watch these guys play. There were multiple times where guys were left wide open down the field. They end up connecting on that 4th and 19 to set Justin Tucker up, like you said, for a 66-yard field goal. This is the second time Justin Tucker's been in Detroit, and the second time he's launched a field goal from epic distances. Like, you knew it was going to... The moment Justin Tucker took the field, you're like, yeah, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Mind you, speaking of Dan Campbell and him costing this team with that timeout, you could go back to the previous offensive possession when all they did was run the ball, and allow Baltimore to use their timeouts. At no point were they ever playing to get a first down. All you had to do is get a first down, and you could milk the clock. Get a first down. That's all you have to do. A little play action pass, something. Kick it out to the flats. DeAndre Swift was having a game. Get him the ball. Let him run in space. Like, this whole entire game, this whole entire loss, I don't even give a shit that the referees ended up blowing a delay of game call. I don't even care about that. This game was lost by Dan Campbell not playing aggressive on offense and by Dan Campbell calling a timeout so he could get the, finger quotes here, right guys on the field and basically taking his foot off the gas. When you have somebody basically reeling like the Ravens were, all you do is you put your foot on their throat and you choke them out. And Dan Campbell allowed them to get up off the mat. This game is on Dan Campbell. This game is solely at his feet. And for the guy who comes in like he is the ultimate professional wrestler, which we love. We love professional wrestlers, you and I. We do a show on it. Every single Saturday and Sunday we drop it. We do a show. We love wrestlers. For the guy who basically resembles and talks like he is Hulk Hogan mixed with Macho Man Randy Savage, to basically tuck his weens between his legs and be like, nah, we gotta play ultra conservative on offense. We're gonna play for the field goal, and then we've got to play ultra conservative, and we're gonna basically drop everybody back. We're gonna play a shell of a cover 3. Like, get the hell out of here.
Exactly.
What is this?
And here's the biggest problem when he comes out and explains it. He said he had trust in his defense. When you got guys that are undrafted free agents out there, and of course one of them was going to make a mistake. 4th and 19, you give up over 30 yards. Not Will Harris's fault. It was Bobby Price's fault. There was miscommunication. He let his man go. And it was unfortunate in that you leave Will Harris out to dry for everybody to point the finger at him for a couple hours before everybody looked at the film. So you look at everything and you go, okay, everybody should know that there's some issue going on with the referees and things like that. And there's always going to be something that's going to go against you in regards to the league and putting extra pressure on you, having to make extra plays. Fine, so be it. Dan Campbell.
Don't put yourself in those spots, though. Don't let them take the game away.
Exactly. Dan Campbell is acting like every other head coach in the National Football League. He's not bringing anything innovative. He's bringing, my guys will fight. Okay, that's fine. They'll compete. But that's the starting point of every team, okay? That's not something you really hang your hat on. Thank God our guys didn't quit. Well, they're getting $50K a game on average, okay, a week or more. So for me, effort is something that's inherently like, okay, you should be able to get that from your guys unless you're a boob like Matt Patricia and you lose your locker room within 3 weeks. Okay, fine. Dan Campbell has the respect of his guys. They fight. Now you got to bring the coaching. Like a certain podcaster said, hey, are you putting the guys in the right position to win? Are you making the right calls? Are you doing the right things to help your guys win that are fighting and scratching and clawing? No, you're not, because the whole half, cause we saw DeAndre Swift getting the ball on play action and screens and things like that. You got Swift moving the ball, and you have the ball in your hands offensively, and what do? Run. No play pass, no run option, no moving the line, no aggressiveness. You play like every other coach does. Force Lamar to take his timeouts. Like that did anything for Lamar Jackson. And then, like you said, you so astutely pointed out, you got Ford Field screaming their head off, the loudest it's ever been, and you needed everybody on the same page. What? I think in that same play, you made 2 mistakes, which is unheard of. You, one, call the timeout, and then you only rush 3, which I understand is traditional football to have 8 defensive backs back there. But here's the problem. And I told my video guy, he could have threw the 19 yards with how much time he had. You could have thrown it 19 yards. Lamar Jackson could have went, read 1, read 2, read 3, read 4. All right, read 1's back open, 1, 2. You didn't do nothing. Any quarterback, if you give him that much time in the pocket, will find anybody. And so once you saw that your defense was pressuring them, that was getting to them, that was hitting them, do you do it when you need it? No. I would have rather sent an all-out blitz, sent Tracy Walker in there to potentially force Lamar to throw it faster, and if he catches a hot route for a touchdown, so be it. It's more spectacular than having a kicker beat you. So for me, it's nothing new in regards to coaching. It's just, hey, we're going to line up and hopefully not fuck up to the point where we give the opponent the victory. And that's not what we're looking for here. What we're looking for here is go for the touchdown, go for the jugular, maybe pass it, to TJ Hawkinson or throw it up there, hope for a flag, something different than we've seen around here. This isn't different. I mean, the idea is, yes, it's a rebuild. Yes, half these guys are going to be gone. But within the parameters of a game, this is shit we've seen for years. It all culminated in one game. Not using proper momentum, not making the right decisions, every decision backfiring, and then ultimately Justin Tucker stands up there, and for the most part, I had it, I was like, okay, he's going to kick it. What's going to happen here? And I said to myself, there's a good chance he's going to make it. It's long, but it didn't look that long, especially from how he hop-skipped it and did the right technique there. Boom, it was a culmination of everything that could go wrong. And obviously starting off with Jared Goff in the first half, they couldn't get the ball going. They couldn't do jack. They couldn't do nothing. And it was so unfortunate because then all of a sudden you discover that DeAndre Swift is a guy that could be Alvin Kamara, and you make the adjustment then. Why not earlier? Why not get him involved? Why not get him out there and touching the ball and getting into a rhythm? And then here's the thing, too, which bothers me the most, is that I asked General Manager Brad Holmes directly, how do you judge Jared Goff with these receivers? And he tried to bullshit everybody and say, these receivers are fine. Jared can throw them open. The receivers did jack shit. Amonra's not getting targeted. Khalif obviously got a little bit more, still less than 100 yards. And if your offense is relying on Khalif Raymond, you're taller than him. You could literally put him in a power slam and kick his ass. Him and DeAndre Swift, bro, those guys, you and I could go in there and rough them up and handle business. You know what I'm saying? They're not the biggest dudes. And you look at it and you say, hey, this is what you're counting on for Jared Goff? My God. It's worse. Well,
here, hold on. Look at this, right? So speaking of the wide receivers, let's look at this, right? So receptions and yards, all right? And we can even look at targets if you want. Khalif Raymond led the Lions with 6 receptions out of 10 targets for 68 yards. After that, it was a running back DeAndre Swift at 7 receptions, 7 targets, 60 yards. Then it was a tight end, Darren Fells, 2 receptions off of 3 targets for 35 yards. Ooh. It was another running back, Jamal Williams, 2 receptions off of 2 targets for 25 yards. Then it was your other tight end, 2 receptions off of 2 targets for 10 yards in TJ Hawkinson. And then you go to a guy like Daryl Hodge, 1 reception off of 1 target. Quintez Cephas, 1 reception off of 1 target. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 1 reception off of 1 target. Trinity Benson, no receptions off of 1 target. Like, your wide receiving core basically is outplayed by everybody else. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got what, 6 wide receivers? 5 wide receivers? And it's just the way this team utilizes the guys that they have. It just like there's just no talent in that wide receiver room when you really break it down and you really boil it down. There's 0 talent there. And like Quintez Cephas, I think, might become a good player. I think he might. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown might become a good player. Both of those guys, they essentially play the same role. They're the same guy. They're both slot receivers. They're not guys that are going to stretch the field. You don't have a guy that can stretch the field. You don't have a guy that has some type of physical intangible. Like with Calvin Johnson was a freakazoid for multiple reasons. 1, he was huge. The guy was massively tall. 2, he could out-jump everybody. He could jump like 12 feet in the air. So you just had to throw the ball up. 1, he's freakishly tall. 2, he can just jump out of a gym. 3, the guy ran like he was an elite running back, like he was a gazelle. So he had speed to burn. He was the optimal deep threat, right? You don't have that here with any of these guys. Like you said, Khalif Raymond, smaller dude, little guy, quick, but he's a smaller dude. So he can maybe burn somebody, but now you got to count on Jared Goff throwing him open. Jared Goff's, like you say risk adverse. That's your words, risk adverse. I like that. He's risk adverse at throwing the ball down the field. I don't care how open Khalif Raymond is. He could be 60 yards down the field. Jared Goff can't get him the damn ball. What are we going to do? You know, every guy you have on this team, as far as a wide receiver goes, is essentially a slot wide receiver. That's not going to stretch the field. Like at some point you have to go deep. And like we knew this going into the season. We knew it. And I'm trying really hard not to hammer this team because I keep trying to gauge this through the lens of we knew it was going to be bad. We knew this team didn't have a lot of talent. We knew what we knew about this team, right? We knew it wasn't going to be great. And we knew what Jared Goff brought to the table. But when you see it the last 3 weeks, man, it is frustrating because there are times when there are opportunities in all of these games. Every one of these games, there was an opportunity for them to either take the lead and then crush the throat of the opponent or to win the game. And whether it is personnel issues, whether it is coaching issues, whether it is just what the intangibles that your players bring to the table, it's just not enough to get things done. And that, I think, is the most frustrating part of all this. This is a game that they should have won, right? You could look at the San Francisco game. Yeah, San Francisco let up in the second half, but that was a game that they possibly could have won. All right, the Green Bay game, they had the lead at halftime. If they made better adjustments, like that falls on coaching and execution of players. That was everybody. That second half was an absolute disaster. And whether it's defense, whether it's offense, whether it's special teams, like you had a monster special teams blunder in this game. You know, like everybody's at fault. And I think that is probably the hardest part of all of this. But trying to remember and gauge everything through the lens of we knew it was going to be bad. I just don't think everybody expected it to be this bad.
And here's the thing, cuz, okay, it's so fascinating in that a lot of people's reaction, the range that they had of it, some people laughed, some people were like, well, here we go again. Some people were pissed and are analyzing everything. But this loss was so SOL in that it had everything. It had every decision. And then on top of it, okay, we've had, obviously, you know, with Jim Caldwell and the pass back and forth kind of thing, the Hail Mary, obviously the shit situation that happened with the rule in Seattle with punching the ball out of bounds. You had the playoff game where they take back a penalty that was correct, that was thrown. And then in this one, you have the discussion that is utterly hilarious, which is when the play clock that starts ticking hits 0, Our referee then lifts his head up, turns around, does a little dally-do to make sure that the play's going off, and then he decides to throw the flag if after a beat it doesn't go down. What kind of fucked up system is that? I mean,
I wish there was a camera on the officials so you could see if they even motion towards their flags. Because I'll guarantee you this, they did not.
There's some fat, lazy referee that can time it perfectly. I mean, we are in 2021 by now. It should be really, at this point in time, a point of embarrassment for an offense if you don't get the ball off. Well, so what should happen is
this is what's amazing to me, though.
If the clock goes hit zero, a buzzer should go off throughout the entire stadium that everybody knows you didn't do it.
But here's the thing. You can watch any football game. Any football. If you would have stopped what you were doing and watched any of the other 15 games that took place over this past week, I could guarantee you almost every single one of them, the moment it hit zero for the play clock, the flag was already out. They blew that play dead before it even had a chance to get started. Not here. Not here, I tell you.
Even 1 second.
Here it was 1, 2, damn near 3 seconds.
Snap. Yeah, exactly. 1, 2, snap. Oh, then we needed a beat. And then you had CBS breaking it down after the game.
Like it was the Zapruder film.
It was like,
back into the left.
They were like, no. And, obviously it's a shit show there, and everybody knows it. The league's going to try to run and hide as much as they can. It's Wednesday night as we're recording this. There's been no talk of it. You have Dan Campbell going, I got to call these guys and look at that. And it's literally... Okay, mark it down. In the history of the 420 plus episodes we've done, this one had everything. Ravens Week 3, 2021. It had it all. It had a fucked up call. It had Dan Campbell making decisions that backfired. It had a fourth down that you could have executed on. It had a bad delay of game penalty that should have been called. On top of it, a kicker kicks it from his own 40 and nails it through the uprights and hits the crossbar to give you that hope. You have an offense that plays a half of a game, and bottom line, this was SOL on steroids. It had everything. I'm going to record this one. I'm going to save it forever, and it's going to go in the annals of the ranking of the non-call or the flag being picked up in Dallas, the Hail Mary, the Calvin Johnson rule. This one goes right up there with the delay of game, and it's the annual we fucked the Lions, and this is what happens, and this is why, again, we've screamed it for years. Please stop screwing the Lions. I asked Rod Wood directly, hey, did you guys have a contact with the league? And he gave some PC non-answer that left nothing that told the league, hey, we're putting you on notice. And the same shit will happen because you're irrelevant. This is what happens when you're an organization that has no respect. The same shit happens. The league
doesn't respect you. The league doesn't like you. You're just here. You're just there. That's it.
You're just part of a league, and this is what happens. So this one, it was a culmination of everything, and it's heartbreaking because you earned the victory. The team played good enough to win. When you hold Lamar Jackson under 20 points, because you realize that the Lions have given up 30 points, I think 7 or 8 games in a row. This is the first game you didn't give up a shit ton of points, and you played well without Jamie Collins and without Trey Flowers, and
you had a pass rush for the first time, and I can't tell you how long.
Exactly.
Like you had young, talented guys getting to the quarterback, making their life hell.
No,
and yet you still blew it.
Now, the one thing we haven't seen yet, and it's coming, I know it's coming. The one thing we haven't seen is like a 3 to 4 touchdown lead where the Lions let up and start running for a half, and then the opponent comes back and wins late. They haven't done that yet to the degree where I remember it. Throughout the length of our podcast. So, hell, it'd be nice to have a lead. It'd be nice to do something. It'd be nice to not have a situation in which you're grinding. And I'm hoping we'll turn our attention here quickly to the Bears because they're a shit show in and of itself with Matt Nagy and what he did to Justin Fields. But I'll say this. Now, on top of all that we've talked about for the first 25 minutes, on top of it all, I was about to go piss, okay? I was about to finally, I sent my report in for the halftime observations. It was quick. It was solid. Those can come out quickly because it's just a summation of everything that happened before the game and a quick couple paragraphs about the first half, which the Lions didn't do shit. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be Calvin Johnson being honored here at halftime. So I'm like, okay, I'll hold it out.
This makes it such a same old Lions day.
Right. It's Calvin Johnson, and you're like, they roll it out. Oh, it's nice. It's cute. Okay, they're going to get to it, and they're going to get to Calvin Johnson. Let's see what he has to say. Do we get a special, hey, I'm very happy to announce that the Lions took care of me. We're a family again. We're something great. Nope. The first thing that they do, welcome Sheila Ford, or welcome the Ford family. And I was like, oh, hell no, because the instant that the word family, Ford family came out, the crowd rained boos down, and it was loud. And I was like, oh. And then they introduced Sheila, and it gets worse. And you're like, oh, no, they did not have Sheila Ford come out here in front of these fans that are so mad and so upset after watching a boring first half from their offense. And she starts talking, and they get louder. And she's like, Lions fans. And it's like, boo. And then it's like, okay, sustained boos real loud. And then she's like, thank you, Kelvin, for all that you've done for my family and the Lions. And they get louder. And it was, to the degree it was uncomfortable because they drowned her out. You had to focus and really hear what she was saying. And then it's like, okay. And she's like, it's okay. And you're just like, oh, man, this is bad.
Like, she just doesn't get it.
No, it was bad. It was bad.
She just doesn't get it. Like, I think this is the prime example of what it is to basically be a trust fund baby, right? Like, she just doesn't understand.
Yeah. So, she's older. You can't put it on her. Her handlers should have known. Send Chris Spielman out there. Don't send anybody.
Sure.
It's just,
for sure.
Hey,
but they send her out there, and
hey.
I don't think she really
she knows
has a good grasp of how the fans feel
now. She knows
about her family and about that organization.
She knows now. And she knows,
but does she realize that she might be senile? she might be upstairs in her little what is it? Her suite, and she's like, "Where are we at today?
No, it was good.
What's going on? What are those guys doing? What are those little ants doing running around down there?"
No, she understands. She got the message.
Okay.
She got the message, and Calvin was like, "Oh," and he was trying to lower the crowd. It was bad. So the 12 minutes that we were allotted to get up and walk around, I had to write the story. And bro, I'll tell you this. Okay, as much as she doesn't like to talk, I can maybe see why. Bro, people read that article as much as they do a week's worth of reads. So if I didn't write anything for this week, I'm good. So the column that Vito wrote about it, wildly read. The booing story went national. Everybody wrote about it. And Pat McAfee's talking about it. He brought it up on a wrestling show. It was bad. And I'm hoping that that's, if she's got it in her, some competitive drive to go, damn, that's what they think of us? Wow. Let's try to turn this around to get a winner, because the fans let her have it. And it was not just about the Calvin beef not returning his money. That was part of it. That was a big, this is what we think of you for putting us and giving us a football team that has done jack shit for the entire length of most of the people that were sitting there's lives. And that's what it was. And I didn't think that people would ever do it in that degree, but they did, and they have every right to. But at the same time, you do have to give her some credit for understanding that she was wrong. She understood the culture was bad. She broomed it out, and she brought in a guy that I think understands, and a couple people that understand. So she's not totally oblivious to what's going on. She's trying to make the changes. Now, will it ever change? That's yet to be seen. Right now with Dan Campbell, it looks like more of the same in terms of pro coaching. But I don't have a problem with it. The fans let her know, and it's one of those situations where you understand that this football team is viewed as one of the worst in the entire sporting landscape, not just in the NFL. So I give the fans credit. They let her have it, and maybe it'll spark change, but it ruined the ceremony. Kevin was like, thank you guys. I'm glad I did it. Blah, 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 blah. 30 seconds and he was done. The ceremony probably was going to go longer. They got that shit in and out fast. And if you look at the video, there's a tweet I posted, and I said, we got to find people that'll love us like this poor lady that was trying to hush the crowd. You look at this video that's posted, the crowd's booing, and all of a sudden this lady is trying to run and pat her hands down like she's going to ever stop 50,000 people from screaming their heads off. It was the funniest look ever, because you had people going, aghast. What are they doing? they are booing us. Yeah, now you know. And hopefully you put a product out there where the podcast in town, look, you're going to have, listen, there's a couple dozen people that are just like, yay, everything the Lions do, but they're not the majority. The 20 people that tweet nonstop all day, all the Lions love, and highlight all the, DeAndre Swift, leads the league in this. Yeah, you're 0-3. Jared Goff has a remarkable ability to throw the ball in the second half. Yeah, but it's a 60-minute game. Come on now. Real fans understand what's going on, and the real fans let Sheila Ford Hamp know what was going on. It was not a bad look. What did you make of it all? And was it fair? Am I overlooking it? Am I like one of those people that just is looking at it too myoscopically, just one way? Because I was like, yeah, the fans obviously let her know what they think. They're sick of a football team being 0-3. They're sick of waiting for a rebuild that they don't know exactly what's going to happen with.
Dude, when do the fans get to sit down with Sheila and sit across from her and talk about all their grievances, talk about all the things that have bothered them for all the years? How often do you ever really get to see either Sheila or somebody who runs this team? Because remember, her dad wasn't very visible. Her mom was a little bit more visible. Her brother kind of botched a couple things, and he never really got his shot to run the team. So this is really and truly the one time where she's been visible in front of the fans, in front of like all of the fans. So hell no, they're not out of line for booing. I wish they would have booed louder. I wish they would have piped boos in to really drown everything out. Look, the fans do not have a chance to sit in front of Sheila, sit in front of anybody who runs any of the Ford estate and really handle the Detroit Lions. This is your one chance to really let her know how you feel about everything, whether it's Calvin, whether it's the team being 0-3, whether it's the team going 0-16 years ago, whether it's been all of the shenanigans because her family has owned this team and basically ran it into the ground for decades now. At what point were you going to ever let her know? You don't get that opportunity. This is your one chance. You let her know. Fans are definitely not out of line. Definitely not out of line. Right. I don't see an issue with it.
It was wild, man. Everything. It had everything. I wrote, like I told you, I stayed there till 8 o'clock. I wrote 11 things. Our guy, Christian, wrote 2 things. So we had 13 articles up. It was a lucky 13 day, huge numbers. People paid attention to it, and it allowed for kind of more of a relaxed week this week as we head into October. And I'm so thankful to be doing this podcast, I'm so thankful to be doing this podcast, doing the website, and covering the Lions, because you get an intimate look at what's going on, and you have the opportunity to really see the inner workings. And you start to see a team that's fighting, and you see a team that has a chance to go into Chicago. They're a shit show. I think the odds are better than 70% that the Lions can win. Chicago is horrible, bro. The offensive line let Justin Fields down a little bit. Yeah, they gave him time, but maybe with potentially a veteran quarterback in Foles or Andy Dalton, whoever it may be, maybe it'll be a little bit more competitive because Matt Nagy left Justin Fields out to dry.
And he left him out to dry.
It's embarrassing at the highest level. So I'm hoping, I think the keys to the game, obviously, give the ball to Swift, give the ball to Hockenson and pray and see what happens, and sprinkle in a little Jamal Williams, and maybe this defense can take another step forward. I'm hoping for the opportunity to see what this defense can do, but I think there's a good chance they can get a win.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get one, this is the week you're going to get one, because the Chicago Bears seem like they're all sorts of out of sorts, whether it be Justin Fields, like we said, being hung out to dry, whether it's Andy Dalton, who's been crippled and maybe he can come back and play. Maybe it's Nick Foles. Who the hell knows? It's basically quarterback roulette for the Bears. The Bears look like they're a bit of a mess. Matt Nagy doesn't really look like he's all that interested in doing a whole lot of anything for anybody right now, because he knows he's on the hot seat and he's basically got one foot out the door. If there was ever a game where the Chicago Bears get right, though, it would be this game, wouldn't it? This would be the game where they play Justin Fields. Justin Fields goes off, throws for 4 touchdowns, 350 yards, runs for another 75 and a touchdown.
Coming out party.
You're right. And like their defense looks like it's Super Bowl caliber.
Yeah, you can't.
So
never assume.
I think the Lions have a shot here because I think they're in a much better, I want to say, frame of mind, in a much better situation than what's going on in Chicago. But that's not saying a whole lot.
Oh man, our Detroit Lions. What are we gonna do? You just gotta laugh. Look at him and laugh. Oh man, it's bad.
I want to get into something that took place on Twitter. I believe it took place on Sunday morning, if I remember correctly. I ended up waking up to this, and this was you going back and forth with Michigan State and Michigan fans.
Yeah,
and I believe, to kind of summarize what you said, was Michigan State shined on Saturday,
yes,
while Michigan was wholly ineffective. Please explain yourself.
Absolutely. I'm objective, so I had a first-hand view.
You use the word objective a lot.
I'm very objective because I have to establish that I'm objective, that I'm not biased in any sort of way. So I was in East Lansing watching the Michigan State game proudly.
Were you there as a fan, or were you covering it?
Oh, both. No, I was in the press box. Okay. Finally, I got to kick the door down. Ryan, credit to Ryan Elke, man. He showed me the way, showed me how to get through the stadium. I finally had an opportunity on a case-by-case, game-by-game basis to kick the door down for Michigan State. It's been a pride and joy. It is the credential, I would say, makes me feel the best, a little bit more than the Lions. Lions was a thrill. It's the top of the game. But to get my first 2 Michigan State credentials, man, it's great to be there. I'm in the last seat. I get the last seat in the building. So whatever the highest number is, I'm in it. So it's great. So I don't care. I'll get bumped out for Michigan. Probably won't get it. Doesn't matter. I got to see Ryan. He graciously showed me where to go. All the inner workings. I understand everything. So being that I'm a Spartan alum, I watched the game objectively. I understood exactly what I saw. Absolutely, Michigan State came back and was able to have a big play, grind it out, and really take advantage of their momentum in this game. And let me tell you why. Okay, Peyton Thorne struggled. Both offenses set back football, but it was the best 14 yards I've ever seen earned from an offense because of the fact that Nebraska came with it and they brought some energy, and Michigan State overcame it. They fought back ferociously. They had a punt return that was legendary, and they get to overtime, and they forced a turnover, and Kenneth Walker finally earned some yards. Literally, the second half, as opposed to the first half of Michigan State, was just 3 and outs. Just Peyton Thorne was missing guys. He just had an off game, but they got the victory. Now,
or was he just a little bit rattled because he got popped a couple of times?
As well, Nebraska came with it. They brought the noise. Their quarterback just was like, this is my football. I will own it, and you will not. And that's what happened. And I think it's a great learning opportunity for Michigan State. Unfortunately, I think they lost one of their best defensive linemen for the year there in Beasley, and that was a sad situation. The cart had to come out, I believe a 6-year senior, and I think that's going to be a season-long situation. So that was unfortunate, but Michigan State grinded it out. Now, they had the Michigan game on at the same time, so you had a chance to see what was going on there. And that was just purely Rutgers not being able to close the deal. Michigan just said, here, take this football game. And they just said, oh, okay. Michigan State showed the ability to adapt, to compete, to try different things when things weren't working. On the other side of the coin, Michigan has a plan, and that plan is to run the football. Now, when things go south, they don't have the willingness or even wanting to pass the football. They just are not doing it. For whatever
In your
reason.
estimation, does it seem like Michigan just doesn't trust Cade McNamara to throw the ball?
No, I can't say that. What I can say is they are like glove in love with the run. They're like, we know this. We know our protections. We know how to do this. They don't want to know what Cade McNamara is. And that's the sickening part. That's the part where you're like, you are intentionally going out there and playing one-dimensional football on purpose and not even willing to expose Cade McNamara to throwing the football. And that's what Michigan is. Michigan barely escaped Rutgers, and Michigan, the eye test said it to me that Michigan barely escaped, and they're playing one-dimensional as a strategy. Michigan State just got out-executed and flubbed opportunities. They still tried to pass the ball. They just couldn't connect on it. And here's the thing. The receivers were open. Peyton Thorne just couldn't find the receiver. I mean, it was so bad in terms of his execution. He got rattled, and he was missing easy throws that would have resulted in a lot of points. It just didn't work out in terms of execution in the second half. Michigan strategy is never going to work against Wisconsin. And I see, for me, objectively, I see a routine loss for Michigan on the road. The first time Michigan's going on the road, they're going to get smoked because Wisconsin got their ass handed to them by Notre Dame, and they're going to be at home, and they're going to want to absolutely run the football, pound the rock, and stop the run. I don't know about Michigan. Can they go on the road after getting stopped? The blueprint now is there. Rutgers turned it around in the second half and stopped Michigan's running attack. Cold.
So this is where I will say that you're wrong. Like, Michigan State did not shine. Both Michigan and Michigan State are lucky to be 4-0 after this past weekend.
Were you not impressed with that punt return and Kenneth Walker and Jalen Naylor and Reed? Oh, come on.
What I will say,
you're not being objective.
Where I think you're correct is actually what you messaged on Twitter and what you said on Twitter. You have basically a roster that has been wholly flipped by a second-year head coach.
Yes.
And you have a roster and you have a head coach in a team that is basically playing in the mold that he wants them to play in. You have a team that's not willing to give up. You have a team that looks like it can do multiple things. It is multiple. It is able to run the ball. It is able to pass the ball. Now, yes, Peyton Thorne got rattled. Peyton Thorne got rocked. He did not have a good game. That being said, you have running backs, you have a pretty good defense. Okay?
4-0 second year when everybody projected that the Spartans were going to win 5 games.
Now, okay, but look, they did not shine on Saturday. They did not look great against Nebraska. As far as Michigan goes, and this is why I think you're right to be a little bit higher on Michigan State than to be on Michigan. Michigan is in year 7 of Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
They are trying to establish the run every single game to a fault, where when the run is taken away, they don't have anything else. At this point, you should know if Cade McNamara is able to drop back and launch the ball 35 yards down the field. You should know at this point, because you played a cupcake schedule and you played at home, and you have a quarterback who, if he's not your quarterback for the future and he's not your quarterback who's going to help you win right now, I'm not sure why he's your starting quarterback. You have a quarterback who we don't really know anything about because he hasn't really been able to throw the football. You know, this team does not like to throw the football at all. It prefers to run the ball. It runs the ball so much that it is basically in lockstep with basically military universities, right? So like Army and Navy, who all they do is run the ball because they don't have any talented quarterbacks to throw the ball. Michigan is right there with them. And that's not good, especially when you're going to go on the road, take on a team like Wisconsin, who will take the run away. Like, they took the run away from Notre Dame this past week. All right, yeah, they lost, but they took the run away from Notre Dame. Michigan is going to have to lean on their quarterback at some point, and whether that's Cade McNamara or whether it's J.J. McCarthy, whomever it's going to be, they're going to have to lean on their quarterback, and they're going to have to trust him to throw the ball. And at this point, it doesn't seem like Michigan trusts their quarterback. Now, I think Michigan was ineffective at running the ball. I think Michigan's offense was pretty ineffective on Saturday against Rutgers. All right. I think both teams, though, are extremely fortunate to be where they're at right now. And the hope is, both these teams are undefeated when they get to meet each other. We can kind of figure it out from there. But right now, I think both teams are extremely lucky to be 4-0 and to be headed in the directions that they're headed right now.
What do you think about Wisconsin? You nervous?
So here's the thing. I think this is a lose-lose situation for Michigan, right? Because you've not gone on the road and you've not faced anybody. So now you're going to go on the road and you're going to play Wisconsin, which this will probably be a pretty tough game. I don't care if it's a down year for Wisconsin or not. It's going to be a pretty tough game. Therein lies kind of the rub, though, because it's kind of a down year for Wisconsin. So if you go in and you beat Wisconsin, everybody's going to say, oh, it's a down year for Wisconsin. You should have beat them. If you go in there and you end up losing to Wisconsin, it's your first game on the road, your first real test, and you're garbage. So I think this is a lose-lose game for Michigan. I don't think there's any way for Michigan to really win this. Like, hopefully they go in there and they come away with a victory. I would be surprised if Michigan's able to blow the doors off Wisconsin. I expect this to be a hotly contested match, and I'm expecting the game to basically come down to a field goal here. This game will be within 3. I think Michigan has a chance. And when I say they have a chance, like if I have to rank it, my 51% is on Michigan over Wisconsin, but that's what it's at. It's 51-49.
Okay. I can't wait, man. College football in town has been enjoyable, at least. We can debate it objectively and really look at how these two teams, I really hope they do enter Spartan Stadium October 30th undefeated. It would make a victory from the Spartans that much greater. But listen, I can't be a hypocrite. I respect the willingness of Michigan to run the football. I like it. Philosophically, it's old school, and I like it. If I believed that you could go all the way with it. But I just can't help in the back of my mind to tell myself, why can't you do that and then pay someone $2 million to facilitate a passing game? It's beautiful. Imagine Michigan doing this on the run with J.J. McCarthy in a fast-paced offense. A little bit of both. You can do both. You can have an effective screen game, play action, run action. At least try it. Why would you not attempt an advanced NFL-style passing attack to go for a national championship? It makes no sense when you look at Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, in your own conference, Ohio State. Exotic receivers, plays that are scripted like pro-style offenses with wide receivers and tight ends and motions and 5 wideouts and bunch sets. Why not incorporate it? What would be the harm in adding a prolific passing attack to your offense? I think doing it this way, unless Michigan wins 10 games and only loses 2, and everybody says, hey, we're a smash mouth football team. If Jim Harbaugh is, I'll be damned, and he's going to go down, and he's going to go down his way, I give him credit for trying it. I just don't see it in the modern game where you can have an offense that just doesn't want to pass the football. It's crazy in year 7 to try that. And I hope that it gets exposed against Wisconsin, objectively speaking, so that maybe the light will shine that, oh, maybe we got to have J.J. McCarthy, or maybe we got to see if Cade McNamara can throw the football. If you're Cade McNamara, you're like, what, you just thought of me as a glorified handoff guy? You're just the guy that hands to the running backs? And yeah, Ronnie Bell changed up the flow a little bit, but I do think that this team could do it. I think that they could execute a little bit of an offense that passes. But what we saw against Rutgers, everyone saw the film. Everyone sees now what to do to try and stop Michigan's running attack. And let's see Wisconsin, baby. I got a bad feeling about both. I think Western Kentucky will play with Michigan State, but they'll get the victory because it's at home night game. They'll be willing to definitely try and stop the vaunted passing attack of Western Kentucky. And then Michigan, unfortunately, goes on the road, which is why you wanted to do it. You can't go on the road the first time against Wisconsin. Are you guys crazy? That's the first time they're going to go on the road? You got to be kidding me. Absolutely not. Can't happen. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Michigan State 5-0 and Michigan 4-1, objectively speaking.
I like how you throw that word around.
I just have to let everybody know that I'm coming at it from a pure football analytical perspective, and I've used my facts to say exactly, and you aided me because I forgot that point, that this is only Mel Tucker's second year, and he's already, he's got that he's got the Nick Saban aura, cuz when he walks into a press room, he's got that same swagger, he's got that same, I don't care what we did, we got to do better. He's got it. He's got that look, that feel of like, okay, you don't like what I'm doing? Okay, fine. Bye. See you later. I'll replace you. And I don't care. And I don't care. I'll tell it right to your face and your mama's face. And I think that it's a great way to be. And by the way, did you know that our quarterback and wide receiver have played together for damn near a decade? It's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet, objectively speaking. That's pretty sweet to have a quarterback and a receiver that basically know each other like the back of a hand. And I can't wait. Is it October 30th? Oh, I can't wait to see what this football game is going to bring us. College football. Can't wait for all the football. And cuz, I'm telling you now, I'm setting up a new home. I'm getting it all together. I'm going to spend every penny I got into this home, and we're going to watch football, college football together. I'm going to invite you over when it's hopefully done, maybe October 30th. We'll maybe sitting on some lawn chairs, but maybe we'll have an opportunity to watch that game in some form of another. But this year or next, we're putting it together, baby. We're putting it together where we can watch football together. And I want to end this because I know she listens. I want to credit your significant other. Nobody in our league besides you has trolled me in fantasy football. She kicked my ass, and then, which earned my respect, she sent me the picture of the score. Absolutely savage. That's the way to do it. It brought out my savageness, and you can ask her what I messaged her. I brought out the ultimate savage move and let her know what I felt about her commentary. Of course, I defended my team, which is all injured for some reason. It's the DSP curse. I can basically just say that I got my ass kicked by Adam's girlfriend by like 50 points. But my best players all are injured. All of them, all at the same time. So I don't even think I replaced them. I just said, fuck it, I'm pissed. And
I don't know why you just don't utilize your IR spot and just drop a couple guys.
I did, but I got one there, and I got 4 more to fill. It's like, forget about it. I was happy I got 100 points off of that lineup. I can't believe it. Deontay Johnson's hurt. Michael Thomas is not there, but that was a long-term play. T. Higgins wasn't there. I didn't even know about his situation. I'm like, forget it. Once I kept seeing all the injuries, the Qs and the Ds and the Os, I got the QDO team, baby. The questionable, doubtful out guys. I got the QDOs.
That should be the name of your team.
Yeah, exactly. The DQOs, man. It's unbelievable. But I give her credit. Alyssa trolled me, and she earned the victory, and she'll probably get it again if we play in a couple weeks. But it's okay. I'm happy to announce that my fantasy football team, on paper, was the best one in the league. And it was an undefeated style team. But unfortunately, they don't want to play this year. Maybe they're not happy with the man. You know what? They've recognized that their fantasy owner is the Matt Patricia of fantasy football teams, and they just said, fuck it, we're just going to get hurt and not play this year. We're not playing for him. We're not playing for John Macaron's team. We're not playing for the Big Hawks at all. We're just all going to get hurt collectively, all at once. 4 or 5 guys, all at once. Props to Alyssa. I peaked too soon. Like in life and like in other areas, too quick. I started off 1-0, and since then, 2
your
games.
Fantasy squad or your sex life? Done too quick.
Done too quick. All up to the imagination. Make sure to follow Adam on Twitter at AdamRSTROZ. Follow the network at Detroit Podcast. Make sure you comment, follow, like, subscribe. Thank you, Adam. I always enjoy our hour together podcasting. Podcasting time is over. I'm going to let you get on to your business. Let's talk next week, cuz.